Okay, here we go. Thoughts on the spring game? I thought, first of all, great crowd. A lot of people came, and tremendous crowd for us. The all-time highest crowd, I think, on the spring game for us. So we keep trying to raise the bar a little bit as we move forward. But very appreciative of everybody coming and being a part of things. And they turned it up out there a little bit, which was good to see and for our players to experience. It made it much like a game day atmosphere, so that was very positive. When you look at any spring game, you're going to see good and bad. You play a lot of different people, a lot of different. We drafted up the teams, so people aren't playing with each other in terms of the ones and the twos and things like that. But I thought the hitting was crisp. I was impressed the way our running backs ran the football, but I also was very impressed in terms of how we closed on the running back and made tackles in space. I think that's what you have to do on the defensive side of the ball. But I thought L.J. Scott, I thought Gerald Holmes looked particularly good. Andre London as well. Nick Tompkins busted out a couple times as well, but they were relatively short runs. Things just were pretty much contained. Quarterback position, we tried to play all of them, give everybody a look. It was unfortunate we had to go to a running clock a little bit at the end, so it was a little bit fast-paced and that type of thing. But I thought Tyler did a nice job. Both guys, all three guys really, first three guys made plays with their feet. Big gains at one point in time, so that was positive. Obviously have to correct some things with their quarterbacks, but quarterbacks about decision-making and leading in the huddle, and then also about creating plays. So we'll look at the film and sort of evaluate that. Defensively, we sort of continue the trend. We're playing well on the back end. We're playing well on the perimeter in terms of playing against the run and things like that. And I thought we tackled very successfully. And we've got good players in the back end and those type of things. So, I don't know, spring games are spring games. We ask our guys to go 15 for 15 and make all 15 practices. We ask them to get a little bit better every day, try and get 3% better. That's what we talked about when we first came in here on the first day of spring ball, when we first had a press conference. And I thought we got that from our football team. So we'll move forward. We set our goals high, and we're looking forward to the start of the 2016 season. But I'll take some questions.
Mark in the back. When you, Becker, to your left.
To my left.
To your left.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, how are you? Obviously made a precedent today to bring back your senior class and then some of the guys that have also graduated. This seems to be one of those years where you have leadership turnover. How have you seen your team, kind of some guys step up in this springtime and then continue to do so over the summertime?
They've done a great job. We sort of take, we elect 12 people like we always have. So we've got 12 guys working at that. That's the part becomes a part of their craft as well. So, it's not just good enough anymore to be a good player. You got to lead as you get to be an upperclassman. And that's what we ask our guys to do. So they're doing a nice job with that. Some guys, quite honestly, have never been in that position. They're sophomores going to juniors, or they're juniors going to seniors, and maybe they've just not been in that type of position before. So it's a little bit new ground for them, but they're learning how to do it. But I think you are right. There's always a change in leadership every single year. But we've seen that before. When Kirk Cousins left, there was a void, and, people pick it up and they move forward. And you can go through a lot of our guys. Certainly we had a great senior class this last year and be out on the field when they were introduced. It's sort of a special moment to see the people, in Spartan Stadium really on the field for their last official time. But they've accomplished many great things here and been a part of something special for 3 years. So we're going to miss those guys.
Obviously today doesn't count because your perspective is on the field. You haven't got to see film. But overall, Mark, out of the spring, could you give us a couple of names of some guys that stood out? Obviously, you're watching the whole team, but guys that really you feel like made a move.
Well, I thought Jamal Lyles played well today. I thought he made a move. He played defensive end and had a big tackle for a loss. So, hey, maybe we move him back there a little bit. Who knows? But I think he's had a good spring. I think Byron Bulla has really had a good spring. John Reschke's a good spring. Some of these guys might not start, but they've been pressed. When you look at our, having Viante back out there, it's a big positive for us. Our safeties are solid. Cox and Nicholson had great springs. So I can go through almost everybody on our roster. I'm not going to say anything negative. So we're in good shape where we're at. We need to address some issues, obviously. We have some defense. Damon Knox was out today, and a couple other guys were out, with injuries. So, defensive tackles position that, has to be, we've got good players coming in. So our defensive line, we have 4 or 5 guys coming in. at defensive line that are going to be very active players.
Coach, was today a good representation of how the quarterbacks have played this spring in terms of what we saw from each one of them? And can you elaborate a little bit on your feelings on these guys moving forward and how that might shake out in the fall?
Well, I think that today was I don't know if that's indicative of our spring. We probably go out of practice. They probably get more reps than they got in this game. So we're going to wait. We had 100 and plus scrimmage last week, 130 the week before, and we have probably that many every day in practice where, whether it's Pascal, 36 plays, or team, or different things. So there's a lot of those things that are going to be heavily weighted. But you got a crowd out there, and, you're on display a little bit. So I wouldn't say it's indicative. I would have been, I think that our guys have thrown it better. And, but I'm not going to diss them either. Is that good enough? That's a middle-of-the-road answer. Okay.
Mark, didn't see a lot to Donnie Corley today, especially after talking.
There you
someone.
Go. Okay, I'm sorry.
Didn't see a lot from Donnie Corley today in terms of on the field, but he did make the one catch. I guess what you saw from him today versus what you saw the rest of the spring, and kind of how he factors in come fall.
Well, Donnie's had a great spring. He's a guy that's come here as a true freshman in January. He factors in very heavily for us. I think he'll have an outstanding career here, and he's got to have opportunities. But, we got guys that can cover too. And as my wife reminded me as she was walking down the steps, everybody likes points. They want to see it lit up, and got to score more points. Okay, but, this is a team game, and we got guys out there playing on the other side that are pretty capable as well. So it's about matchups sometimes. This is his first time playing in an environment with 51,000 people there. So, it's a little different, but I thought he performed well. But it's tough to say. When you watch a guy run routes, doesn't mean he might be open. They might not get the ball to him, a rush or something like that. And so until you see the film, you really can't assess the whole thing.
Coach, with the amount of talent that you have on this team, what's the process with you and your assistant coaches of trying to get the best 22 on the field? Do you guys sometimes find yourself like almost playing the mad scientist, trying to move people around to get the best ones out there?
Yeah, that is the goal, to get the best 22. We really don't care whether they're freshmen or seniors or fifth-year seniors or new guys or walk-ons or whatever it is, We're going to weight everybody's play, and that's what we practice. And we'll evaluate it at the end of spring and assess a grade on them for the spring. And then we'll start again in August. We'll see where their improvement's been made, and we'll see who these new guys are, and we'll try and factor everything in it and start to rebuild it. But I think that's what you do every season, whether it's the spring or whether that's winter workouts or the season. You sort of restructure everything and start back and make sure that you try and do things with a step-by-step plan. And that's what we'll do.
Mark,
I'm excited about our players, though.
a lot of talk this spring about turnover and new leaders and that kind of thing. Do you feel like this group has sort of just kept rolling as in a business-as-usual type of way? I felt like today was something we'd seen a lot of times before, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think the culture that we've built here, the expectations are that if you're a senior, you're going to have your best year. You need to. If we're going to be greatly successful, that's something that we've sort of, hung our hat on a little bit. So, I think our players expect to be good. They understand how they have to pull together and how they now have to lead, some of them. But proof's coming down the stretch next season, and so I think what we have to do is just keep pushing. But I like our chemistry on our football team. I've said that since I've come here. I like our players. They're disciplined. They will do what you ask them to do on the field, hopefully off the field, hopefully in the classroom. But they will do what they need to do on the field. They will play with chemistry. They like each other, and it gives us energy.
Mark, you already mentioned how important points are. But defensively, you've talked this spring about your expectations for this defense and I guess the high ceiling they have. Now that spring's over, how do you feel about this unit as a whole moving into the offseason?
Feel good about our defense. Obviously, we got a couple different, issues at depth that we'll address. But I think we have a great defensive class coming. First of all, so it's going to be exciting, especially in their defensive line position. I guess 3 defensive backs and then kind of Kenny like as well, and then some linebackers. So I'm very excited about that. But Along with that, I just think we have a lot of guys returning in the perimeter positions. Where you talk about our defensive backs, you talk about our linebackers. We have a lot of guys returning. Lost a couple guys, but a lot of guys who played a lot of football returning, and they're a year older, a year more experienced, and they have a higher standard, I think.
Mark, you mentioned those 4 or 5 new defensive linemen. How has Malik maybe helped with those guys, and what can Malik do? I mean, being a high projected guy already, what can he do to get better for next season?
Well, first of all, those guys aren't here yet, so he's not had really an impact on those players. But Malik is an outstanding player. I think, like I've said before, he's scratching the surface. I mean, really, truly is. He has a lot of tremendous amount of ability, and I think that he continues to grow as a person. Just like everybody, he'll be a junior next year, so he's in his 3rd year. And, when people grow and they stretch themselves, good things happen. And I think that's a natural progression for all of our players right now. So he's starting to assume a position more of leadership. And, we've always said around here, with success comes responsibility. And, that's a part of it.
Coach, the Dow twins, can you tell us who's the oldest? And just your opinion, they were very active today and during spring.
Yeah, they're very active football players. They're 100-mile-an-hour guys. I can't tell you who the oldest is. Can you? No. Okay. But I'm going to find that out. But both those guys are great football players for us, and we're going to play a lot of football. We redshirted David, so he's a redshirt freshman, and obviously Andrew played last year. But high, up-tempo guys that will give everything they've got. They're extremely conscientious workers, and they have a very, very high ceiling here.
Mark, you mentioned some of the young players you have coming up on the defensive side of the ball. Tyson Smith was tested a couple times today and ran real well. Looked like he did a pretty good job. What kind of spring has he had, and how's he coming along in terms of his development?
Tyson's had a very good spring. I would say he and Darian Hicks right now are probably Darian a little bit 1, but Tyson's probably 1B. We always play 3 or 4 corners, so I think he got a lot of experience last year as a true freshman. He started, I think, the Nebraska game, and he played. I think he's more game ready now. He understands the conditioning aspect that you have to play corner here. And he's got great speed, great ball skills. He's a good tackler, and he's getting bigger. So I think he again, is a guy that's a young player that is a very good player, will be a very good player for us, already is, and you'll see a lot of game time next year.
You've made the comment before, Mark, that obviously it's about winning, and it is, but also it's about the way you do it. Football aside, just the kind of young men you've recruited and the kind of young men you have off the field on your team right now, is that even more special to you, just the way that the high level they've been winning and with the kind of kid they are?
Yeah, I hope so. Start to, hopefully you're not defined purely by winning and losing. You're defined on what you're doing for your players and how they grow and who they are as they leave, like the guys did today as their seniors left. So that's a part of the process. I think we have recruited good people here. I think we have a good culture, and I think that they understand the standards here. I think, when you walk in the weight room, a standard is set. It's not just in the weight room, it's how you handle yourself. When you walk into a position meeting, there is a standard, not how you play necessarily all the time, but how you approach things or how you handle yourself. It doesn't mean we won't have problems. Hopefully we have none tonight. Okay, but, I just think we have good people. I've said that over and over. We have good people. Provides chemistry, provides energy, and they work well together.
Mark, you talk about the standard that you set with this program. Do you find yourself taking a step back sometimes when the former players come back like they did today and talking with your current players where you don't have to really say as much, you can kind of let them do the talking for you?
Yeah, I do. I see Kyler Ellsworth there. I see our senior class, and, Doc Wes and Langford were back, and Trey Waynes was here, but we couldn't find him on the sideline there to get him back out. Sort of quiet guy. Sort of quiet. Okay, but I thought that you see those guys and you look and you say and you figure out what they've accomplished. Jeremy Langford, 40 touchdowns, and all the things he's done, and Doc Wes and all these guys. The things that Connor Cook has been able to accomplish, or Burbage, and they've truly. I mean, Michigan State has a great tradition, but they stand there as one of the top players in the state, in Michigan State's history. And so they've had special moments here, and, had special opportunities, but it's very special moments here, and they've done a great job, and they've really been passionate about what they've done, and they've achieved so much. They're high achievers.
Mark, Damian took that one big hit in the throw that he completed to Corley. Can you talk a little about that? I mean, because obviously you don't want guys to get hurt in this game,
No, you don't.
but especially a guy that's already been hurt in a game. But talk a little bit about that throw alone, though. I mean, it was a pretty under pressure play.
Yeah, he was under pressure. You're not supposed to. The quarterback was not live. He got hit a couple times, and I think probably the green team wishes they would hit him a little bit more when he escaped a couple times. But I thought that's what Damian can do. He can create. He needs to do a better job I think from this game, in particular this game, in terms of staying in the pocket and throwing on rhythm. But he can create, and he can get out and run. And he's a big 235-pound guy that can cut it loose and throws the ball well. But he needs to be more consistent. I think you probably saw that today.
You get two more, Jeff.
Before the season, or before the spring, I believe you said that the decision on the quarterback might go into a couple games next year. But has anyone separated, or have they become closer during the spring? Or
I think everybody wants to hear the coach say he's the quarterback. And I'm not going to say he's the quarterback until we get in a game and we see the production from our quarterback position. And so until we see the production on a consistent level, I'm not going to make the mistake of saying this guy's it and put all the pressure on one guy. I want the pressure to be on the group of four. I want the pressure to be on our quarterback coach. And I want the pressure to remain there among all of them for them to be consistent. But it comes down to decision-making, creating, making plays, and leadership. Right now, Tyler, I think, has done a nice job with that. The other guys have too, but they've got to be consistency. And he certainly has the most experience, but we'll see how it all shakes out. I mean, when you get to August and Brian Lewerke's in his first spring, we'll see how he takes all that he's had this spring, assesses it, takes it all in, packages it, and then moves to the fall and see what he can do. Same with Damian and Messiah. So we'll see how they come out in August.
Last one here in the back.
Hi, Coach Beck here. I saw Baba Pisa here with his grandson today, and I know you guys are looking at Jacob. What would it mean for you to have that family lineage possibly come back to MSU?
Well, Baba Pisa is a great Spartan. He's a passionate Spartan. I can't talk about recruits, but obviously his family is very important to him, and he's raised them right. He's raised them green. So we'll just keep it like that, I guess.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Okay, thanks, guys, and thanks for coming.